I didn't even get like a DBA or anything. I was like, let me just see how it's going to
I
work.
can make real estate or any other business
I
work.
think a lot of people will be intimidated,
There
especially
was nothing that I could have said to bring you over to this side
that you say that because like as I listen to you, I'm like,
because there was a mental disconnect.
Welcome to the Power Unit Success Cast, the show where we push the limits to unlock our greatness. Each week, we dive into the world of real estate, business, and entrepreneurship to bring you stimulating talks, insights from movers and shakers, and the mindset to do more so we can become more. Let's get into this week's episode.
Welcome, Jewel. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so happy to have you here. I'm good. Thank you for asking, but I'm so happy to have you here because I feel like this conversation that we're about to have has been a long time coming.
Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, this is Jewel. She owns Jewel and Co. shirts. And I don't remember how we got connected. Maybe it was through Facebook or something. I put out something looking for some t-shirts one time. This was years ago. And somehow got connected with you. You had strong social media presence. You had your stuff out there. And got you doing some shirts. You were working with me. And then next thing you know, that led to what, like wall emblems and
Yes.
just all kinds of stuff. Like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? And I've always thought like she is running her business. She is about it. And I don't know. It's been years now. So I'm glad
Yeah.
that we get to sit down and actually chat now.
I know.
How
Me
you
too.
doing?
I'm doing pretty good now that I'm here with you on your comfy couch,
Yeah.
just enjoying life. And it is crazy because we've been knowing each other for a while now. But this is, like you were saying, the first time that we've, you know what I mean, had that
Yeah.
because you're always so busy. I'm busy. We're always
Yeah.
running around. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it was through the Royal Scoop, which it's Toy and Tisha.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I remember that.
Yeah.
Nice. So I don't even know this for myself, but how did you get into this industry and start your business?
Okay, so long story short, I think I was working for some companies, like some major companies. This was back in like '07, '08, '09. Okay.
Mm.
So I was making them a ton of money. Okay. But then I was being paid pennies. And then one day my dad was like, just, you know, do it yourself. And, at the time that
Yeah.
sound crazy, like just quit my
Yeah.
job. Like,
Right.
what?
Right.
But he was right, and, that's exactly what I did because I was bringing in so much money, like, a day, a week, for these big millionaires, and which was fine, I needed to do that. That was my journey or my,
Mm.
I guess, learning, And so anyway, yeah, I've just been on my own ever since. Now, Jewel& Co. T-shirts, I started that in, 2018.
Okay.
So it was always the same thing, and so with like what I was telling you when I decided to quit my job, I was just doing exactly what I knew how to do from these companies, right? And so it was always selling advertisement.
Mm.
Yeah. And so I had learned that like the back of my hand. It was like I went to school for it, just working at these companies. But anyway,
Wait, so selling advertisement, like selling ads to people or ad space or
ad
okay.
space,
Okay.
advertisement, like anything, billboards, anything you can think of, just advertisement. And so that's all I knew,
Mm.
right? I didn't even know I didn't even know how to make t-shirts, if that makes sense. All I knew
Ah.
how to do was sell.
Okay.
So the first part of my business, it was like I was selling advertisement, like just selling it, out the wazoo, and then wazoo. And then I had like another company making the shirts, like a middleman.
Uh-huh.
So it just trial and error.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what I was doing. I think I was like, I don't know, 26 or something like that. And so I also learned to stop beating myself up because I'm like, okay, clearly this is how you learn mistakes, right? So in 2018, I was like, you know what? I'm done with the middleman. I need to learn how to make these products,
Mhm.
so I had to learn every aspect of the business, not just sales, but, production and products as well.
Right.
Um,
So just to unpack that a little bit, okay, so this middleman, which I think is pretty common these days, like drop shipping ish, or some of these internet companies out there, like everybody can make their design and then this other company fulfills it and ships it to people. Is that what you were referring to as the middleman or?
yes.
Okay, okay. So by you wanting to do it yourself, was there like a significant, I don't know, financial margin doing it in-house versus those other companies?
Right. So what it was, and also too, keep in mind that back in 2010, 12, 13, 14, it was not like how it is now, where I could get on IG and find like a pretty decent distributor or
Mhm.
whatever. It was like my mom's cousin's friend or something like that. And
Gotcha.
so I would have to go with the best deal because like you were saying, as far as like the finances were concerned, it was like I wasn't really making that much of a profit, or it was taking a lot of it. So it's like, okay, I'm selling these people, they're paying X amount of dollars, but pretty much all of that money has to go to, somebody else producing the shirts.
Yeah.
And so finally, I had enough of that. And then fast forward to 2018, that's where Jewel and Co, just started. And so with Jewel and Co, I didn't even get like a DBA or anything. I was like, let me just see how it's going to work. Let me just see.
Yeah.
And then like I want to say almost 2 years later, that's when I was like, okay, I got to take this serious. Let me get the DBA,
Yeah.
all the legal paperwork on it. Eventually, the LLC, whatever. But yeah, I just started collecting like these machines because they're pricey. But I was just. I'm not like an opportunist, but if an opportunity, I guess, presents itself, like if I have like a lump sum of money, let me grab that machine or let me go get what I
Yep.
need
Yep.
because I don't know. And so that's what I did. I've just been hustling.
Yeah. No, and it's so crazy you say that because so back in the day, back when I lived in Atlanta, I actually had a little graphic design business. It was just a little
Mhm.
side hustle just to make some extra money here and there. So I was designing stuff in Photoshop for people.
Yes.
Then it got to where people wanted me to get stuff printed. Like people were always asking me, "Do you print? Can you print my business cards? Can you print my postcards?" And I never had any type of game, printing connections or
Yeah.
anything in the printing game. So I ended up finding a company. They were local and they were gonna allow me to white label their printing services,
Mm.
and I could now offer and sell printing.
Mhm.
So I did that for a little while, and then I was like, hey, what do I gotta do to get my own type
Yeah.
of printer and start doing this? And so I started dabbling down that road and had got this huge copier, like one of them
Mhm.
like real copiers. I mean, you're not buying this from Office Max. Uh,
I know.
and I ended up getting it on business credit. Like
Mm.
that's when I started to kind of dabble and figure out about business credit.
Mhm.
And so now I was printing all kinds of stuff. Didn't know how to use the thing. Didn't know
Right.
anything about the printing
Toner.
game like that. Yeah, yeah, toner. Like you mean a little ink cartridge? Nah, it was like no, I didn't know any of that. And here I was with this huge fancy printer. I had a paper cutter from Office Depot, and I
Mhm.
thought that I was being fancy having that paper cutter that the teachers had. I thought I was being fancy with that, and that kind of started this little printing company,
Mhm.
and then I just got I was over it. I was getting screwed by a lot of people,
Yeah.
empty promises, and I started working with all these different celebrities or people who had
Ah.
names, big names, and there was always that, "Oh, well, Imma be able to put you on and Imma introduce you to this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
so you should give it to me for free." And I was doing that because I
Mm.
didn't know any better.
You didn't
Like I
know.
was I was like, "Okay, I'm looking at this person and I see them on TV and stuff
Yeah.
or in music, and yeah, if I do this, then maybe I'll become famous in this community."
Mhm.
Now, they were introducing me to people, But unfortunately, every one of those people was, well, I'm such and such, and I can introduce you to the, and I wasn't making any money. And I was like, how long
Yeah.
do I do this? And I feel like people in, especially your line of work and like printing graphics, when you put yourself out there like that and
Mm.
do great work, you get those people. Have you encountered that? And like, I mean, because it was
Uh,
real for me. It was real.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh like that.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, man, everything that you're saying, like, I feel that I got chills because time management, you don't want people wasting your time, and, I let a lot of people waste my time, you
Mm,
know? And so what I had to do was just, I guess, take a day to say, "Okay, if you want graphics, any type of designing, whatever, it's gonna cost, XYZ, for my time."
mm,
Because designing is sometimes, like, the most tedious, longest process of, the whole printing.
yeah.
And so, no, I feel you. Like, yeah, broken promises, people, telling you one thing. And I used to fall for that, but now I don't care if a person says that they want to do 1,000 shirts until I see, the cha-ching and my Cash App,
Yeah.
whatever. I just say, oh, okay, great. Well, just whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Yeah, so, like, how did you get comfortable? I guess that's along the lines of knowing your worth and knowing your
Yeah.
value, but when you're building a business, you're kinda thinking like, "Well, I wanna get my name out there, I want clientele, I wanna build this business. What is it gonna take? Is it gonna take this, that, and the other?" But how did you get comfortable just like, "No, this is what it is, and take it or leave it?"
Man, like, I guess like I was saying, like just trial and error, just knowing how I wanted to be treated, because okay, so I'm really big on like customer service, right?
Mhm.
I'm, like old school, like the customer's always right. I don't think they're doing that these days. But
No.
so I was always like just trying to like please people and make people happy. And even if it meant no money or, I'm exhausted or drained, I just wanted that person genuinely to be satisfied with whatever I was offering, service product. But I made a firm decision that um I had to kinda, like, weed the people out, like, who means business,
Mhm.
or who's all talk. And so the whatever technique or, formula that I came up with to weed them out, I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is gonna work out well." And then I've been getting, like, more rest, my time's not wasted, like, um so, yeah. So I guess, to answer your question, it's just you gotta go through whatever you gotta go through or whatever life is gonna toss at you, again, to learn and to know, like, "Hey, I don't wanna feel that way again or do that again," or whatever. Because at first I was like, "Lord, like, why is it this way? Like,
Yeah.
what's up?" But then it was like, because it just has to be that way, you know?
Right, right.
So,
That makes perfect sense. Like, sometimes you just gotta go through these things, although they may be uncomfortable, they may cost money, you just gotta go through it, or you won't get to that point where you know your worth, you know your value, you know what you deserve because you're always gonna be inferior to the people who are coming into your business or speaking in your ear. That was an issue for me for a while. It was like I felt like I needed everybody. I
yeah.
needed every single customer,
Mm,
every single client,
yes.
um, and it wasn't even from like a money standpoint. It was like, well, I'm trying to build a business,
Yeah.
and so I need to do this for this like I can't say no.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And that was real difficult for me.
Yes, you're so right. Like saying no can be very difficult, but it's like you have to just do it on purpose. You have to like let people down on purpose, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do that project or, whatever. But yeah, you're so right. Like, and also, I wanted to mention this too, but just like the whole general like world of sales. So I was telling you that I sell advertisement. Like that's it, of course, with the shirts and products, personal stuff as well, but, I was thinking about, like, real estate, right?
Yeah.
And I might be late to the party, but I just started watching, it's called Dirty Money on Netflix.
Dirty Money. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it. I
Oh,
haven't
okay,
seen
okay,
it.
okay, I
No, I
feel
haven't
better.
seen it.
Yeah, I think it's been out for a while or whatever, and, I was like, "Okay, let me," because 'cause I'm just into documentaries, that's all I
Mhm,
watch, it's
mhm.
crazy. So, anyway, I started watching it, and I watched one last night with, I forget his first name, but his last name was Kushner. It's like Donald Trump's, sorry, I didn't mean to say
Is
that,
it
but anyway.
Robert Kushner?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They had an episode on him,
Oh,
but so, I was just watching it and, I have to on purpose think like from the business owner's perspective and then the consumer's perspective, right? And so he's like a major, I'm sure just like big in the real estate game, right?
mhm.
And I just was thinking like, regardless if you're selling like t-shirts, advertisement, whatever you sell, real estate, whatever, like sales is all like pretty much, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like the same thing. But the point that I was trying to make is that I was watching him and I guess, I'll say less if people haven't watched that episode, but I mean, I was really feeling him, it was something that was derogatory towards him, of course, and he probably had some issues, but instead of focusing on, like, what was wrong with him, I just
Mhm.
admired because I guess I didn't know about him,
Yeah.
I admired, like, man, he's like he's really in this, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So I guess that's what I was gonna ask you, about just the whole general idea of sales, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, with real estate and stuff, because 'cause I've been following you for a while, and I'm like, "Man," I've told my dad about you, like, for years, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, thank you. No, yeah, sales, you know, what's interesting about that is that when I got into the real estate business, I was going to all the real estate trainings and, them teaching about contracts and houses and stuff like that,
Mhm,
but I ended up stopping, like a hard stop, and I was like, "Yeah, all this is all good, but I need to learn how to sell."
mhm,
And I started to invest in all kinds of sales trainings, all kinds of just any and everything. And I
mhm,
tell people today, I didn't invest in a lot of real estate specific training.
mhm,
I invested in a lot of the things that were the core of
mhm,
whatever I was trying to accomplish within real estate.
mhm,
So sales, online digital marketing,
yep,
um, how to talk to people, speaking, like, I went for that stuff versus, how to get a listing or how to do that because I
right,
felt like if I had the skills,
mhm,
like I was unconsciously competent about the skills,
mhm,
then I can make real estate or any other business work. And sales is one of those things that at its core, it's the same. Like it's literally the same. When you were
mhm,
selling something to somebody, what do? You find out what their problem is. Like, what is the problem? And you're just solving the problem. Like, that's the whole sell.
mhm,
People can overcomplicate things, but at the end of the day, someone has a problem and you have the solution.
yeah,
If you believe strongly that you can help this person, this solution works in any industry, you can make that sell. When it comes to overcoming objections,
yeah,
hey, overcome that objection. Do you truly believe that strongly in what you're selling? Because no matter what they throw at you, you should have an answer for it.
mhm,
I don't want to make it sound that simple, but
oh, yeah,
at the end of the day, that's all you're doing. You're just solving a problem. But sales was one of those things that I was like, I feel like is the most beneficial skill that someone can have.
oh, yeah,
And if you can learn sales and how to master sales, you can work in any and everything.
hey, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's no limit,
Right.
you know what I mean? And that's, I mean, I'm pretty sure we have a lot in common, but I felt like from just watching you, like on social media, I was like, that was like the major thing that we had in common was like, we know how to sell,
Yeah.
you know? And like I was telling you earlier about customer service and, just like genuinely being passionate about it because I also feel too that it has to work out for everybody. I don't want to just sell my product and they don't get what they need and,
Mhm.
vice versa. But like you were saying, just making sure that you're passionate and, you want to help people and of course, you help yourself.
Right.
So yeah, I just like sales, and even though, and you said another thing, you said that it could be a lot or it's hard or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, which and I'll let you kind of direct me on this. I had brought my binder, my sales binder,
Mhm.
and I wanted to role play with you, and I wanted you to critique me and tell me if uh, if my pitch and my overcoming objections was pretty good. Also, too, because I've been working on this script and pitch and all of this stuff for like 7 years, and it's finally done. That's all I had to say.
Okay. I
Okay.
mean, you wanna do it now? When you wanna do it?
Whenever you wanna do it.
Okay, okay. Let
Or
let
like a
let's
pop yeah.
let's chat for a little bit more, and then that is gonna be coming though. So we're gonna role play, which yeah, okay, okay, it's gonna be exciting. Okay, okay, we're gonna role play. All right, so back to the business. You have this business going now. How are you personally like putting the business out there? Putting is it just through social or
Yes.
okay?
Okay. So I have this whole, business plan of what I want to do, right?
Mhm.
As far as, how I market, promotions, being more hands on, face to face, whatever. But it seems like, and I wonder if this is the same for you, but you seem a lot more, strategic than I am. But it seems like every time I like sign myself up to do XYZ, it's like I can't even get that done because there's like so many other things. So lately it's been more so just inbound. Like whoever's calling me, whoever, that's what's been keeping me busy. But I'm like, no, I need to work on my outbound. I need to advertise. I mean, I sell advertisement. I need to
Right.
advertise. So, even I had noticed that, even, like, on my Instagram, because
Mhm.
that's kinda like my main, social media that I use,
Okay.
I'm like, I haven't even posted any of, like, the pictures of my work, and I've been working, and I don't want people to think that I'm just been, sitting idle or whatever, like,
Yeah.
I'm like and then I'll have, like, in my photos, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna post all this stuff," but then it's like, so it's something that I have self-awareness, and so it's what I've been working on, but it's more so, like I was saying earlier, time management, regardless of what's going on in my personal world with my children or whatever, I'm just making it more of a point to, like, no matter what, unless it's an emergency,
Mhm.
this is gonna get done, and so that's what I've been working on here lately was and even with this podcast, just exposure, outbound,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, I really don't have, um, like, the way that I want it to be, right? Because I always want everything perfect, and it'll never be perfect, but I have not been, marketing the way that I should, and so but that's what I'm working on, is what I was trying to say.
So let me ask you this. Is it truly a scheduling thing or is there something else attached to it that's preventing you from, for instance, posting all those photos you have?
It's a combination of a lot of things. It's because I'll be in production, like, until 5 a.m. or something, working, like, 12 to 15 hours
Mm.
on like I was telling you, like, whatever is incoming, who's calling
Right,
me and saying,
right.
"Hey, I need XYZ." And then it changes my schedule to
Mhm.
where, okay, I've been up all night, so I'm gonna sleep all day, you know? Um, the way that I have it written down all nice and, the way I want it to be is, okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I want to, cold call and do my outbound, right?
Mhm.
From just say, I don't know, 8 to 1 or something like
Right.
that. And then in a perfect world, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just production, right? I'm just going to be dealing with just, producing. And then on Sunday, I'm off.
Yeah.
But it just, and it seems like that would be a great, it just doesn't go that way.
If I may be frank,
Yes.
I feel like you are trying to create balance.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as an entrepreneur, I don't believe balance exists.
Mm,
I believe that balance is one of those things that we try to do as entrepreneurs and try to get, but it never happens, and
Mhm.
it's never gonna work out. Like, something's always is gonna suffer. Either
Mhm.
I'm working on this, then that's gonna suffer, or I'm putting my attention here, then this is gonna suffer. Instead of trying to find balance, you wanna find integration.
Mm.
So, integrating it, work-life integration, social media, business integration, production, non-production integration, to where it's not like a one thing or the other, it's all happening simultaneously. How do you do that? Well, luckily, we're in an age where there's tools out there. We're in an age where you can bring on a virtual assistant for
Mhm.
less than $5 an hour. Okay, we're in an age where everyone is trying to become an entrepreneur or have a
Mhm.
side hustle. So people want to get experience. And I'm sure you could put a post out there, somebody will come and help you just to get the experience of how to do what you do. And
Mhm.
so it's not so much trying to balance all these different plates, because eventually those plates are going to fall,
Mhm.
and what have you achieved? You're back at square one. It's about integrating it so that it's working simultaneously, and that's what makes it scalable as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
how I feel about that.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you're living it. Yeah, you're so right, man. Like, that was deep. That was really deep. You're
Look,
right.
it is.
Integration. Um, so you know that old cliche saying, like, if you do not plan, you plan to fail, right?
Mhm.
So that's like on my vision board. So I'm always looking at that. But I have been trying to not be so like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Um, I kinda I guess when you put it that way or how you described, I guess I have been and unknowingly been trying to integrate. And again, this is what this is all new for me.
Yeah.
Um, and so I even have it to where so I have 2 teenagers, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Hey, if it's time to get in here and do 100 shirts, like we just have to drop everything and do what we got to do, right?"
Yeah.
But what I did was cuz I noticed that I'm like, "Am I like Jewel& and Co. cuckoo or something? Like that's all I, eat, sleep, dream. Like, wait a minute, am I spending even the right amount of time with my family?" And so I felt like when I do spend time with them, and this isn't like all the time, but it's always like, "Hey, we have to do this. We have to do that, and I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna give you money," you know? And it's like, no, you need to, go walk around downtown Dallas with your kids or, it just shouldn't always be that. And so when I started to realize like, uh, this business is starting to eat me up.
Mhm.
um, like what you were saying, and I need to know more about that integration. I made this list or whatever, or like a chart, and it basically deals with okay, no matter what, again, unless it's an emergency, no matter what, on this day, no Jewel and Co. Just nothing about that. Whatever you guys want to do, want to go to the movies, just whatever,
Yeah.
but nothing like that. And so since I've been doing that, I have noticed that like even the energy in the house, you know what I mean? It's not so I wasn't causing like a lot of stress,
Yeah.
but it's it's a different energy, by just kind of like working on several projects at once, even if it has nothing to do or with work. Because
Right.
there's still like
Right.
a lot of stuff you work
Yeah.
in your personal life,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but you're so right. Do you have a book?
I do. Yeah. I have
Yeah.
a book.
I need to get
Yeah. I mean, it's more so about real estate though. So it's called The Real Before the Estate, and it's what I wish I knew before I started real estate. And I came up with that book because as I matured in the business, I was like, there was so much that I was not told about going down this road. Commonly when people think about real estate, it's like you can make a bunch of money, you can make a bunch of money, you can be this flashy agent, this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
And I said to myself that if I would have known all of this, maybe I wouldn't have chosen to do this.
Mhm.
Because it was literally when I got into real estate, my plan was to only work in the business for a year, and then I was
Really?
gonna go move to California and try to become an actor or something.
Okay, I can
And
see that.
so my plan was to make a bunch of money in real estate, only for a year, and then move.
And fund your acting career?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
But but it took me almost a year to get my business going. So then that's when I was like, I'm sure I'm not the only one in the world who thinks that they could just hop in this business, make a bunch of money and dip out. And
Right.
so I titled the book, What I Wish I Knew Before I Started Real Estate.
Mhm.
And I've boldly said either this is going to make someone want to jump in and continue, or it's going to make them change their mind. And I'm cool with that because that was my goal. Like, at least if you get in, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
And if you don't get in, you feel a lot better because you're not selling yourself something like I did that probably wouldn't have happened.
Mhm.
Now, luckily, I'm that person that was like, once I'm in it, I'm in the thick of it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep it going. Here we are, 10 plus years later. I'm still here,
Mhm.
but that was how that book came about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna read that for sure.
yeah. I get into a lot. But um, one thing about me, like I get ideas just all the time that like I'm
Mhm.
ready to just run with and all of this. Like we were talking about integration because I can't live a very structured life. No matter how hard I try, like
Yeah.
I cannot live a very structured life. And so um I've gotten really good at integrating it, and luckily the people around me who matter and who I have to show up for and, be there for family and loved ones, all this. Luckily they understand who I am and what I do,
Mhm.
that they accept it.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in those situations though, in those relationships where it's like it's me or the business, or you're too into this, and unfortunately it's hard for people to understand. But once you get those people who understand, it is that integration to where it's like, hey, I'm gonna give some, y'all give some. Give me a little grace, I'm gonna give y'all a little grace. I'm gonna show up, y'all show up. It
Yeah.
integrates very well.
Yeah.
But everybody's not like that, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like for me, I don't really go out on the weekends a lot,
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
but everybody else goes out on the weekends. I I will go do my weekend stuff, like get something from the mall or this and that on a Tuesday when
Mhm.
when nobody's in there, when I got an hour long break. So,
Yeah, you're right.
but it's that type of deal with me where it's like we don't have to sacrifice not going out or not doing things
Mhm.
socially, but it don't have to be when everybody else is doing it.
Yeah.
Or it don't have to be on the weekends or Friday night.
Mhm.
Go to the club. If y'all only want to go to the club on Friday or Saturday night, then I'm not your guy.
Right, right.
I'm not your guy.
Yeah, it's just too
So,
hectic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kinda how I feel about, a lot of the balancing the business and personal and things like that.
Yeah, those are solutions
Yeah.
that what you're talking right now. And I love solutions. Like, I want to do this. It's not working my way. So what's the solution? But you had said that and again, it's okay, but you said that people, whether it be family, friends, whoever, like, hey, this is my life and, take it or leave it. I will say I used to be because I'm kind of goofy, So I used to have like all these friends like from high school and college and just all these people and it was always me trying to make everybody laugh and all of that. And then real quickly I noticed that the more that I started to like you said, get into the thick of it, I just didn't have time. I only have time to make sure that my family's straight, and just business, right? But again, something I'm working on.
Mhm.
But I noticed that I lost friendships, but again, I want to highlight that like that's okay, like
Yep. Yep.
just because I might look at something a certain way and somebody else looks at it differently, it doesn't really make it right or wrong. Because at first I kind of wanted to be a little offended, like, "Girl, you don't know that I'm over here working 10 hours a day, blah blah blah. Like, why are
Yeah.
you being mean or whatever?" But no, like that was just the way it was. But so I kind of felt a way like, gosh, I don't even have any friends. All I talk to is like my dog and my kids and whatever. But then it was like Well, that was necessary because there was something that I had to do, and if, that friendship, relationship, whatever, if it was meant to be, maybe it'll just, connect or integrate,
Yep.
at another time, so.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know that saying is lonely at the top. I
Ugh.
mean, you can apply that to so many different facets of being an entrepreneur. I remember this one time, me and one of my good friends, she's still one of my good friends, luckily.
Mhm.
We got into a big argument one time because she was working 40 plus hours a week at some job, but she had this desire to run her own business. She always had these ideas and this and that. And I was already doing my own thing, like
Mhm.
full time. Right. And so I've never discouraged or told somebody to quit their job. Well, maybe I have a little bit,
Yeah.
um, but
Supervisor.
but we got into an argument one time because she was saying that I'm delusional and that I'm being reckless and that I don't have no 401k, I don't have this and that, like talking to me about all these
Mhm.
things that she gets with her job. And there was a major disconnect between me and her because my mind wasn't thinking like those were deal breakers, right? But
Mhm.
she had such stake and importance in them, and so
Yeah.
was so passionate about them. That's when I started to realize there's a different language that gets spoken between entrepreneurs, full-time solo entrepreneurs,
Right. Yeah.
and people working a 9 to 5 job, and
Dependency.
yeah.
Dependent on,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and even things that go on here when you're working for yourself, like things that go on, they would crush somebody who's at a 9 to 5 job unless they have that mindset around it, right? So we got into this huge argument about that. She didn't talk to me for a little while, and then she finally quit her job and went to her business full time. Her business has literally been exploding, has
Oh,
been doing the
wow.
thing. She's been full time for probably the last 3 or 4 years, and
Mhm.
we joke about it now all the time, like, and to think I didn't wanna quit because of a 401k. And I was like,
Mhm.
there was nothing that I could have said to, like, bring you over to this side because there was a mental disconnect
Mhm.
because we're operating on 2 different sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Not saying your side is bad or my side is better, but it's just 2 different sides. And so
And
with
timing.
yeah,
Mhm.
timing. And so when we talk about losing friends and, people not being around, I no longer feel apologetic
Mhm.
or angry or upset or because I was that person thinking that I needed to change. I needed to do this, but I don't tell them to no, just leave your job right now and come out with us. Oh,
Mhm.
oh
Mhm.
no, just tell your boss you're not going to work the rest of the day and come out. But that was the kind of the stuff that they were expecting of me. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you work for yourself, like, you could do that." No, no.
Mm-mm.
I work for myself, but I work. I
Right,
work.
right,
I'm not
right.
just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. You work full time at your job. It's not fair. And
Yeah.
so for people who weren't willing to even understand nor accept that, yeah, the
They just
relationship,
put them on hold.
yeah,
Yeah.
it did what it did. But I'm cool with it because I was never going to be able to satisfy their schedules and they were always going to feel a certain type of way about my schedule. So
Hey, yeah,
it is
just
what it is.
feel how you need to feel. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Man, I'm just feeling you. Yeah, you're so right. Like, we're all human, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's entitled to mistakes, but like you were saying, like, she finally, like, was like, "Let me quit the job," because guess what? The business needs all of you. Like,
Yeah.
it can't deal with, you have your 9 to 5 and then you have your business, and the business is like, "Hey, I need at least 15 hours today."
Yeah.
So, you gonna have
Yeah.
to, you know what I mean? So, once she or again, when the time was right, it happened. And like you said, she's exploding, she's doing her thug things, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
what was the business, if you don't mind me
Yeah.
asking?
So she has a private driving school. So she teaches teenagers and adults, mostly adults, how to drive.
Yeah.
and she works with a lot of international clients who have just moved here
Mhm.
and have never had the need to drive.
Yeah.
She also works with a lot of clients with disabilities, so
Mhm.
phobias or all kinds of stuff
Wow.
she's worked with. But yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting because there's a huge need for that, which you already know, because you gotta have your driver's license. And
Hmm.
I won't go too deep because then I'll start making it about, that. But man, like, well, I'll just say this and I'll let it go. I had a client just recently. Now, this client, he had a driving school as well. And I deal with, I sell advertisements. So whatever, as long as it's legal, I'm
Hmm.
going to try and sell you an ad. And so anyway, I created this relationship with this stranger. And now we're like, I don't know, besties or something. I don't
Hmm.
know. And, he had a driving school, and then I thought like, "Oh, teenagers, high school." Whenever I talk to him, I'm gonna tell him, "Yeah, more so along the line of marketing to teenagers," but no. It was what you just said, people who, come in from out of the country, and they're like, "Look, I gotta get going, and I
Hmm.
gotta be able to drive." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even realize I just, I guess, because every business is different, but when you start to be passionate about, what people are into, their interest and how they operate, I wouldn't have thought it. The only reason why I knew is because of what I just dealt with this client. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's important, super important. Well, good for her. I'm
Yeah.
glad that that's working out.
Not me though. I don't even like driving, but I hate driving. But you got to do it, especially here. So yeah, so that's what she does, and
That's so
now that
cool.
she's on this side of things, right? There's so many things, and she'll be the first to admit it. Like, you told me this years ago, and you said this, and I never understood why you do this and why you did that, and it all
Mhm.
makes sense. But that's when I just really believed in like it's two different ways of thinking, and
Yeah.
not one. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong, because we need all of it, right?
Yeah.
But for those people who, even here in real estate, for people who get into real estate but they only have that mindset of working as an employee for someone else, they tend to struggle. Not because they don't have the freedom and access and this and that, but they don't have somebody telling them what to do. They don't have somebody telling
Oh
them what
yeah.
time to report. And now you have all of these different factors that were supplied by somebody else, aka an employer, that now you have to supply them to yourself.
Mhm.
Nobody's holding you accountable. Nobody's telling you when to show up. Like, it's so many other
Discipline.
things outside of just the money, or
Oh
I'm running my
yeah.
my business. And until you develop that whole, like, hey, this is all me, and if I'm not the one doing it, it's not gonna get done. Until you start to develop that mentality, like, people tend to struggle with this. Like, you
Yeah.
can make money, everybody can make money. There is an
Mhm.
abundance of money out here to be made,
Oh my
right?
goodness. Yes.
But who's gonna tell you sit there and make calls for 30 more minutes?
Mm.
Hmm. Who's gonna tell you to spend money on that course? Who's gonna mandate you
Mhm.
wake up at 5 a.m. to get your day started? Nobody.
Yes.
You're on your own. You're on your own. And that's where the real challenge starts. Because it's like, what are you willing to do? You know? Yeah.
That discipline, that
Yeah.
self-discipline. Oh, that's major.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so right. Like you start off thinking like money, because that's the goal, that's the motive, right? But then you get into the thick of it and you're
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, I got to do 10,000 other
Yeah.
things first,"
Right,
Like
right.
you said, self-investing, like I got to, spend money on this course. Like I can't, go shopping or go out, Man, that's a major thing right there is that self-discipline because, yeah, it's easy when you have, somebody holding a paycheck over your head, and like, "Oh, okay, the manager said XYZ." But
Mhm.
no, it's like, no, the business owner needs to say XYZ, and it needs to happen unless it's, just some
Yeah,
extenuating circumstance, but
yeah. what's that line? They take that line and just run with it. That who gonna check me, boo? Like it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can say that, but you need to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
able to
yeah.
stand your ground and maintain things. Like
Hey,
it's not just like a free for all.
man.
My mom told me one time, she had called me about something, and I told her, I was like, no, I'm in the middle of this and that. I forgot what I was doing, but then she goes, "You the boss. You can not do it." And I was like, "Mom, that's not how this works. Like, I still have obligations
Yeah.
and things I have to show up for and things I have to do."
Yeah.
But that's a common way that people think. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Like, just do whatever.
yeah, just like those friends that we talked about who
Mhm.
want you to just show up whenever they call, and
Yeah.
because that's how people think it is.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not even trying to force my thoughts or get them to see from my side, because
Yeah.
either you understand it or you don't. But I'm not in the educational space where I'm trying to educate you on how to be,
Well,
you
it's
know,
crazy that you say that because, like, as I listen to you, I'm like, you are really good at teaching. If a person
yeah,
wants to be taught, though, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. If
Um,
they want to be taught, yeah,
yeah, like and that's a gift to be
mhm,
able to like say something or teach something, and the person really understands it or comprehends.
mhm,
Because I've had some bad teachers.
yeah,
But I did notice that about you just by listening. Because I mean, I just learned some stuff just right here on this couch.
yeah,
Integration.
yeah, yeah.
That's
You
major.
know how I learned that too? Learning about people.
Yeah.
That's been another skill that's helped me out even in my real estate business,
Mhm.
was learning about people. I went down a long road of like learning about sales. Then I started learning about people and the brain and the mind and
Oh, yeah.
NLP. I can go
Mm.
down a whole rabbit hole with you, but
Yeah, it was personality types. Like,
personality types, and you add that to your sales abilities or whatever. It's been able to do so many great things for me, like
yeah,
just being able to understand people. It's helped me get along with people better, right?
yeah.
I feel like I can get along with most people, because I understand people. Like, I don't fault people for the way
Mhm.
that they think,
Mhm.
because I know everybody's different, but I don't fault them for the way that they think. And it's up to me. Do I know how to have a conversation with this person?
Mhm.
Do I know how to make a joke and let this person laugh and not be offended? I have to understand who I'm talking to, and I legit do this in appointments.
Mhm.
I will sit there and ask questions for a bulk of the appointment, especially like at the beginning, because based on someone's answers to me, I'm getting an or gaining an understanding of who that person is. What type of personality do they have?
Mhm.
Are they analytical? Are they more emotional? Are they creative? I'm
Mhm.
I'm gaining all of that by asking questions. So
Mhm.
I know that when it's time for me to step up and do my job or present or whatever it is, I know exactly who I'm talking to, and I'm presenting in a way that's comfortable to them, thus making them trust me more, making
Mhm.
them feel like they can tell me more,
Yes.
building rapport, and
Rapport
ultimately
building.
doing business together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
That's so
lot that goes into this
selfless.
though, but
Yeah, because you're putting your client, your potential customer, like you're just making them first. And I think that's so selfless because it's like, okay, who cares about how I feel or what I think? I mean, to an extent,
yeah.
but it's like, no, I want to know about how this person thinks and what interests them, and how can I help them? And man, that whole psychological aspect of people. I mean, that's deep. Another thing I wanted to know if this happens to you too. Have you ever been in a situation where, you've been talking to somebody, just say for a while, or and they're like a real strong callback, and they've talked to like their spouse or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna, do, for example, we're gonna do, I don't know, 200 t-shirts, and I'm gonna need them this, that, the other. You talk to them for like an hour, right?
Mhm.
You guys are building rapport with real estate,
Yeah.
for you, and you're talking to them, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna write them down for they're a good callback. She said to call her back, she'll have a credit card ready, whatever. And then you just, I don't know, you talk to them again and it's like not even the same person. But then the person that sounds like they wouldn't even fool with you are the ones who buy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what, you know, that what you just described, knowing people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, especially like with cold calling and stuff like that, it is a stab in the dark. But if you know, I can't be judgmental. I can't say, "Oh, well, you know, this person, you know, he probably, you know, is not gonna do it because whatever." And then this person, "Oh, they might do it because, you know, they have a car dealership or something like that."
Mhm.
And it'll be vice versa. The person, the smaller business or they do the most, you
Yeah.
know, or
Yeah.
you know. I think you get it though, but
No, yeah. I mean, and that's real because there's no like crystal ball that tells us if someone is going to move forward or not.
right.
However, over time you start to notice these cues, right?
Mhm.
Because I mean, I sell one type of product. Well, I'm going to say this for this example. I sell one type of product, real estate, right?
Mhm.
I know that that's my product and I've sold enough of it to know what questions people typically ask,
Mhm.
what they typically look for, what they say, and I haven't been faced yet with something that I felt like I couldn't answer early on, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm talking initial appointment. Um and I notice little trends or things about people who move forward versus people who don't.
Mhm.
I notice little habits of people who say that they're going to do something but don't actually do it, right?
Mhm.
And the only thing that I can do on my end is continue my follow-up process like normal,
Yeah.
continue, fulfilling what I know to do. However, it's oftentimes those people who talk the most that like, they
Mhm.
have every question in the book,
Oh, yes,
right?
yes.
And I even think about, like, my buying habits, right? I tell people, "If you're trying to sell me something, do not give me too much time to think."
Oh my
Because
goodness. Yeah.
then I start thinking of stuff like, well, do I" I'm a very
Yeah.
impulsive
Impulsive.
buyer.
Yep.
However, I never feel like I've bought something that I didn't need or that I was cheated on or
Yeah.
whatever because whatever I invest in, I'm gonna make it work.
Right.
I'm gonna use it.
Mhm.
However, you know, I value time. I'm not trying to sit on the phone for all
Oh,
this
yeah.
time. I'm not trying to sit in a meeting for all this time.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm after. I know what I want. If you can supply that, then hey, we got it. I mean, you've
Yeah.
solved my problem,
Mhm.
you know?
Like, get to the point and sell me.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's
Well,
it. And a lot of people think that it's mostly about the money. Going back to my friend who when she started her business, she was afraid to charge, right? She was giving any and everything for pennies.
yeah.
And then she was afraid to charge, and I finally forced her to, like, raise her prices. She called me
Mhm.
crying one day because she was like, "Somebody actually bought it, and I didn't think people would actually buy it
Yeah,
for
they knew
this
the
price.
value.
This is
Yeah.
expensive." And that's the thing. It's like, when the value's there, people will pay, people will step up. You may not be the cheapest, I may not be the most expensive, but if there's that connection there, a value, a
And
want, a need, a desire, we got that rapport. Look,
yeah.
I'm not even trying to spend all that time looking for something else at this point.
Yeah, and people will buy from you because they like you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
a lot of times. Like, "Yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
I'm I'm gonna roll with him." You could be selling the same product, but if it just depends on the rep,
Yeah.
or the agent, you know?
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, man, that's so deep, and it just made me think, value oh my gosh, I mean, and I think a lot of people will be intimidated, especially, like, when they're going into the like, "Should I be charging this much?" You know, because I try to fluctuate my prices just based upon, like especially if it's like a repeat client, I'm like, "I'll do whatever for you." But, like, my strangers or new clients, I wanna be firm on my prices because I know what I give, you know? I
Mhm.
know that I will go, but even though they don't know, I know that I'll go above and beyond to, try to make it work out. But yeah, the price thing you have got to, and I might need to talk to the camera just to say this. You cannot be afraid of big money, period. You
Mm,
just can't do it because you'll sell yourself short. I know I don't have to tell you that because you know, but just like any business that's starting, like because I felt that before, it's like kind of like I'm a little passive, so I'm like, oh, you know, yeah, let me, oh no, 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 you just can't like on purpose, even if you're naturally passive or something like that, like on purpose, you have to be bold, you have to, stand your ground. Like, no, these are the prices. If you don't want it, go somewhere else. Because guess what? A T-shirt from Gucci is $500, and
look,
I can't wait to tell you when I give you my objections or whenever we
that's
do a
it.
role play.
Mhm.
Because yeah, when you think like that, like I mean, there's people out here selling, T-shirts for $500. Surely I can get 25 from you.
Thank you for listening to the Power Unit Success Cast. If you're excited about what you just experienced, make sure to subscribe. Also, leave us a rating if something you heard resonated with you, and feel free to share your thoughts about this episode on Instagram. See you next week.